5 years, isn't there? When did you start? 88 and 9?
89 was the first time I played out and got
Sky
paid.
Blue.
I got some money for it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I think I got 30 quid for playing somewhere in.
Is that all I give you? Sorry. Sorry, mate.
No, but do you know what? Do you know what?
I'll give you a pay rise.
Do you know what though?
Oh, I'm always getting this in the neck now.
Honestly, that first time I got some money for playing
Yeah.
I was so...
Yeah, you were over the moon.
Like,
yeah, you would have played for nothing like really in them days,
it's funny you were saying I was listening to some of that Fabian Groove interview from yesterday, and they were the same. They said that the first time, I think they picked up like 30, 40, 50 quid.
Yeah.
First time, you know, back, he's like, fucking...
I heard the tape from the Sky Blue Connection with, is it Nevin that's doing the MCing? You know that Doc Scott tape from the Sky Blue Connection? And he's on the MC. You know, what's his name? Francis
Nevin.
He was your MC, do you remember?
He was a while. He was for a while.
You want to hear, I'll have to get that to you, you know. It's quite, he sounds wicked as he goes, he's good.
No, when the Sky Blue collections come around, I got a pay rise.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
You moved up a level. Yeah, hey, listen, Nev, I'm a bit, you know what I mean? Like, I've come from the Bantam now, like. Good old days, mate, I tell you.
One tune I got to mention, Unofficial Ghost.
Right.
What inspired you to? That tune is...
I don't know, man. It's like I say, I don't really know, man. Honestly, and I say that in all honesty, man. I had a run, a good run of however many years it was producing, and I think one of the things was then is that period then, and you know, going right back to Amnesia in the early 90s. There was pre-internet. Do you know what I mean? So you had no distractions. There was none of this. There was none of this. People online fucking ripping your fucking shit, ripping your sets or your producing to pieces, and so it was just head down, make stuff, and people like it. Great.
People loving it.
And that's it, man. And that was as simple as it got. Turn into the 2000s, man. You got this social media. Well, it was before social media, but you had forums and people going on there and fucking. Which was cool at start until they started turning nasty, and you know what I mean. And I was like, oh, it's not why I really got into music. It was to have it critiqued by 1,000 people that are going to fucking rip it apart, kind of thing. So, Unofficial Ghost, I wanted to do an unofficial remix. It was an unofficial remix. I wanted to do a surprise track for Goldie. That was the point behind the tune, was to give him this tune and say, hey, I've remixed one of your tunes without you knowing. Which now people do, and it's called bootlegging. I get
bootlegging.
And they think, but you know, and I explain to people, because people bring this up. People say to me, they said, "Yeah, but you did it with Goldie." I said, "Yeah, but he's my best mate. We were running metalheads at the time together.
Do you know that?
What I mean?
You can do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had all the sounds officially. Do you know what I mean? I went to the studio and got all the sounds. Like you've done it. You've taken one of my records and fucking ripped it all off.
Ripped it to pieces. Yeah.
It's funny you should say that. I saw one the other day. A DJ remixed somebody's tune and put a tape together, a set, and sent it to the guy, and he put a comment up saying, "Great tape, but don't ever remix any of my shit again without asking."
Yeah,
you know,
that's the thing. That's the only time I ever get annoyed or narked by it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Is when they don't ask. It's when they send it you after the fact.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Look, I'm going to do this. You mind? Like, if you like it, let me know. Like,
exactly. Do you know what I mean? Because you know. I have no problem, like we were talking about earlier, it's difficult for people to break through, and one way of breaking through is doing a really good remix of a really big and well-known tune. Yeah. But just ask first, do you know what I mean? It's just courteous rather than me hearing it. And sometimes sometimes I've heard unofficial remixes of my tracks, like from a DJ in a club. I'm like, hang on a minute, what the fuck's this? Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's just a level of courtesy, that's all, because I fully appreciate that. It's super difficult to break through now, and I have no quality. If you ask first, knock yourself out, go for it, and hopefully do the best thing you can.
Brilliant answer.
Nearly there.
Go for it, dude.
Have you got a single most influential person within the scene that you've been connected to?
Probably, in terms of Doc Scott, the person, the DJ. It'd have to be Groove Rider, man.
I think so.
Because
we're always good pals.
Because I first heard him when I went to London in '89 to some of those parties in the summer, and of all the DJs I heard down there, he was the one I was like, That's how the music should sound to me. Do you know what I mean? And then when these guys started doing the Amnesia parties, then we got the ability to bring those guys up to.
And,
do you know what I mean?
Fabio.
It was a brilliant education for me as well, because at the time I was like 18 and I could technically DJ, but I hadn't really found my identity. Do you know what I mean? So then having the ability. And then when the Eclipse was running and Groove always pretty much had like 7 till 8 the last set.
There,
Do you know what I mean? It was just an education, and that's where I kind of learned the things that I wanted to do and the things I didn't want to do, and then who I wanted to be. Because it's all about identity, and that's another thing I say to people is and I think Fabio and Groove mentioned it on an interview, and it's true. And it's like if you walk into into an arena, into a club, you should be able to tell who's on the decks without seeing who's on the decks. And that's the difference between being a DJ or a disc jockey. Do you know what I mean? It's all well and good going out there and playing all the popular tunes and everyone loves you for that hour, but then you could be anybody, and then how long is your career going to be? You know, find out who you are, find out what you want to sound like, and then work on that so you got a personality kind of thing. And through Groove and Fabio as well, and a bunch of others, but probably if you're asking for one, it'd be Groove Rider.
Groove Rider was always Amnesia's sort of number one. We always made him our number one DJ.
Absolutely, mate. And those you know, he also used to have the final hour.
That's right.
At the Connections.
He was actually the best man at Mickey's wedding as well, and it just so happens that on the 27th, we didn't realise till we changed the date from Coventry to Birmingham. And I booked the 27th of June, that it's 23 years ago to the day Mickey got married on stage at the Book of Love.
Same day.
Groove Rider, same, I didn't know, it's like an omen.
Yeah, right.
And Groove Rider was the best man.
Yep.
He brought Tareen out on stage in front of 15,000 people. And that was just one of the best events ever, I think, in the history of the dance scene, without a shadow of a doubt. We had Groove Rider, Fabio, we had Prodigy, we had 8 State, we had
that stuff just can't happen today.
That's just like an omen, really, from Mickey up above, I think. He'll be looking down on us that night.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we're dedicating it to Mickey, this event, Scott, you know.
It's a
the
special,
late, great Mickey Linus.
Yeah, do you know what? I can remember being at Mickey's house once, and it was either Derek May or Frankie Bones.
Frankie Bones from Brooklyn, New York.
I can't remember, but it was one of them, and he had a phone call, and I remember being there, and he's gone, oh, we've got the opportunity to get Frankie Bones. It was like Frankie Bones or Derek May, I can't remember which one.
Over,
I know.
at one stage,
and I was just like, book him, do you know what I mean?
Get him on.
Like, you know, and there's another thing as well, why Amnesia was important in those early days is what they weren't just putting on raves, and I don't think they even realised it. Well, no one realised it at the time. No. But that Derek May set, for example, from 1990, that changed my life. To this day,
amazing, wasn't it?
To me, to this day, it's the most important DJ set I've ever heard.
Brilliant.
Do you know what I mean? Because he sounded like he was from 10 years from the future.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like when he played, man, I don't know if you can remember, I was standing right next to the decks, and like half the people kind of left or weren't sure what to do because he was so far advanced of what we were doing. But I saw this guy stick to his guns, and and I learned an important lesson that night, which is if you're being booked as whoever you are and you're going somewhere, it would have been easy for him just to play all the things that were popular in the UK and have everyone happy. But he didn't. He said, "I'm Derek May. This is what I'm about, and I want to play it regardless." Yeah. And
I think Frankie Bones was the same as well. He'd done his own thing as well.
He was the same, man. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And like,
it was amazing.
That summer during night, I think that summer, those, how many was it? 6?
We done. I think we done about 4 in the Sky Blue Connection, didn't we? Yeah. 4 there. They were just amazing parties, weren't they?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I ever learned so much in one summer as I did that summer. Do you know what I mean? Because about myself and about music and about who I wanted to be and everything, man. And that's one of the reasons why the Amnesia House parties are so fondly remembered, because it was like that for a lot of people. Whether you were a DJ or wanted to be a DJ, whether you were a punter, raver, whatever it was, man.
I think it changed people's lives. You know, it brought people together really from different parts of the country. You know, and it was one big happy family in them days.
It was good.
Yeah.
Shut those exit doors.
Shut them exit doors. You let the sound out.
Got it, man.
Oh, remember that, Scott.
Oh, dear.
Shut them exit doors.
What's all about that the other day?
You should have them pretty much.
What's on about that? What's on about that the other day?
You're celebrating. I'm telling you.
Oh, Jesus.
Every time, next occasion, I listen to that set, man.
Man.
Yeah. And every time I hear it, it kills me, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna get in trouble.
We're gonna get in trouble.
Let the sound out.
might be a difficult one for you because obviously you've really been around. Favourite rave ever?
There's too many, man. I think one of the ones that sticks in my mind, and I'm not just saying this because I'm here, going back to when you was on about what's your favourite production, one of the ones that really, out of many, but because it's the first time I ever heard one of my records, one of the records I made played out, and that was Amnesia at Donington. Jumping Jack Frost played it. And that's the first time I ever heard Surgery out in front of a crowd, and I was
10,000 people. Right?
Yeah, and I remember sitting next to the decks, and at that point in my life, when was that? 91 at Donington, I think it was.
91, 92, yeah.
And I can remember thinking to myself at the time, I can die a happy man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, cause
this is it.
That's you know, another one. It's like I say, you can't. Your first, and if they're good ones, if they're good first, they stick with you forever, man. Do you know what I mean? So. It's hard to. I mean, there are lots, man, but that's a moment, an important moment as well, because it was just you know, because one of those things, like, you know, you got to remember, when I first started playing out, I was like a 17-year-old kid from Coventry, who's not supposed to kind of break through and do whatever you do. Do you know what I mean? And so it was another step in the progress of getting to be where I wanted to get to, kind of thing. So. There you go.
Right, Scott, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to Neville, 5V, Amnesia.
Thanks, mate.
27th of June 2015, Birmingham, LMG, Mr. Scott on the ones and twos.
Be there. Shut those exit doors, mate. Shut them.
Thanks, Scott.